today we are going to get past the rushed introduction and get right to it as promised. We're going to be discussing today one of the last preemptive things before we actually start writing, and we're going to be discussing the assumptions that people have associated with writing, and the reason we're going to do this is to get away from any notion of self-sabotage that we're all guilty of, and we're just going to get started. The first assumption is the argument of work versus talent. You know, people often assume that if you do the work, if you study, if you do great in your writing courses, that automatically affords you the entitlement of fast-tracking you to become a better writer. That's not necessarily true. I've had this happen in certain situations where somebody has tried to introduce me to somebody else who was an English major or something at the time, and said, I really want you to meet so-and-so because they're a writer too. And I had to say, hold up. I never called myself a writer. You called me that. You put that label on me, and I don't want to associate with other people who are so pretentious that they would actually use that term to describe themselves. So the first problem I have with this is the pretentiousness of it, right? They automatically assume you're a good writer because you went to school for it, right? In large quotes, I went to school for this, so I'm great at it. And that's not necessarily true, right? And we need to keep those sort of assumptions in mind. The second part of this assumption, this argument, is talent, right? People are naturally gifted when it comes to writing, and that's great and wonderful and stuff, and I don't necessarily have a problem with it. But again, if you're talented at something but you're not putting it to use, then what's the point? So this leads to the next part of the question, where does it lean more towards talent, or is it the work? Or is it more complicated? And I tend to lead toward the mindset of it being more complicated, because you can go to school, you can get A's in your English courses, your writing courses, and that doesn't mean anything. You could be naturally talented, and it doesn't mean anything if you're not tapping into that resource. You know, what's the point of you having a useless gift, right, if you're not going to use it? And this is where I tend to play devil's advocate with students or colleagues when they come up with this idea, this notion of viewing themselves as writers. Typically, when we start discussing things like writing, I hear people say, you know, I always wanted to write a book, or you should write a book because of blah, 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 because you're so talented, or so-and-so is so good at this, and they've got really good ideas. But we need to keep in mind, you know, what is the true fulfillment that people are searching for. In my experience, it's about making something relatable to other people so that they can offer a sense of empathy sort of along with their own perspectives and interpretations. When this happens naturally, you know, and it's not forced, this tends to lead writers to become more confident in their voices and accepting of the idea of criticism as it is used to elevate their own sort of art form. So I've come up with these sort of mantra, these maxims, whatever you want to call them. And the first one, maxim number one, is when you begin writing, or even the process of ideation, you know, that's a better term, ideation takes place in your head, right? You need to become aware of your interests and your values, as well as your own priorities. Essentially, not to sound egocentric, but it's about you, right? But if you're in it to make money or seek fame, you know, there's the door. It's in the same place, and you can see yourself out. But Josh, isn't the point of writing to be published and make money from it? And I guess it is for some people, but not for this cowboy. So again, it's important to keep your priorities and your philosophies in mind. When they come together, you know, these motives give you a purpose, and that's what I like to call maxim number one. Again, I've had people say at this point, well, how do we begin? How do we get started? And this is what I'm trying to show you, is we need to destroy our assumptions we've already made about writing itself as an art form, as a genre, or as a vocation or career. Forget money, forget fame, disregard what critics say unless they have something useless to say. Find your own process, and that's the little piece of counsel I want to offer you, is that with practice, the skills will get better over time, as long as you sort of keep working at it. Is education important? Yes, but it shouldn't be your main priority. You don't need to go to school and get your MFA degree to become a writer. Nor does it mean you just sit in your cave and scribble poetry all day long, right? Um, because that didn't help me in my own personal sort of journey. I didn't go get my degrees from a university for teaching, right? That was just a natural unfolding of events. That I went to school for something else. I wanted to educate myself on different styles, etc., to help my own writing. So there you go. There's a little piece of personal history. The true motives behind why I went to school was to just be a better writer. I wanted to learn from other people, watching their craft sort of unfold in front of me. All right? It wasn't about teaching. It was about developing the tools to recognize how other people wrote so that I could understand their influences on my own style, on my own sort of ideas. This, of course, presents itself with a new set of challenges always. We've got our self-imposed limits, right? And people tend to use these as a crutch. I don't have time, I don't have the money, I don't have the drive. Those are just BS excuses, honestly. Another argument people tend to bring up is with themselves, right? When facing these challenges is the hesitation, right? The worry. They fear they're not talented, they're not good enough. They're worried that other people are going to dislike what they've written, they're going to hate their work, and they're going to use this to judge them as people. But again, like I always say, who's to say? That's the number one idea I want you to get from these preemptive videos, these pretext videos, is that you need to get beyond your self-imposed limits. Right? I'm not going to put any limits on you. I'm going to encourage you all the way. Right? If you want to listen to critics, listen to the good stuff. Listen to the stuff that's going to help you evolve. But again, if they've got nothing useful to say, then just ignore it. Just get started. And that's what I have titled, this video, Adopting a Process. You need to become aware of your own process. What you need to go through to get your ideas onto paper or typed up or even, put into a digital recorder on a phone or something like that. The technology you use doesn't really matter as long as the ideas are there. And trust me, they will stay there. Right? But that's another step in this process of world building that we'll discuss in a future video. Hopefully it's the next video, where it's not just a story, right? You'll see that it's more complicated. Narrative storytelling is more complicated than writing an exposition, a little plot sprinkled through here and a resolution, right? It's going to be much more complicated than that. So I just want you to be prepared when we come to that bridge, because I'm going to show you the bridge, but you're the one who has to walk across it. As always, thank you for watching. I'm not going to peddle the like or subscribe stuff that people typically do at this point. I just hope you learned something, because keep writing. And who's to say, right? Keep that in mind. Who is to say that you can't do this and that you won't?